Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures. I apologize for the depth and lowness of my voice, but unfortunately my students have done a wonderful job of finally getting me sick with whatever fun and funky viruses they've been bringing to school. But regardless of that, it is time once more for our weekly painting progress. And this week is all about taking models that I did not do the best job of and just going with it anyways. Sometimes that perseverance is a really difficult skill to acquire. Whether it looks good or not is entirely up to the eyes of the beholder. But in this case, a lot of these were models that I primed with like some really cheap stuff I got at the hardware store. Usually I pick up like the Krylon ones if I go there, and I haven't been in a while, but the bottles are gigantic and they take forever to finish off. So the one primer, and it wasn't a Krylon, but I don't even remember. Anyway, all this stuff had been primed with it, and unfortunately it just gunked them all up, and it was really hard to discern anything or see them in focus for that matter. So first up is a Frostgrave Demon. I guess he's in a bit of a Zinchian color scheme when I can keep it in focus. Very simple paint job. Painting up these North Star plastics are always a fun endeavor. Everything can, just can be totally night and day when you have very similar figures. And they work so well with other model companies, and I'm like looking around desperately for other North Star models, and you're not even on the same size base. That does not help my cause here. Okay, that's a bit better. I want to say this is one of the Captain models. It looks like it, considering how much clutter he's got on him. The Captain set was a really cool one, or the Knights, or whatever they were called. But anyway, I've been slowly trying to go through and finish off a lot of these poorly primed, unfinished models, and that's what we're getting this week. Next up is a War Cradle Cowboy from Wild West Exodus, and I can't even recall the last time we've seen a Wild West Exodus release, come to think of it. I feel like it's been a while. Now, it's not the best paint job, and unfortunately, so this guy was a bit of a disaster, mostly because I was playing around with a Vallejo wash that I'd picked up, and for whatever reason, I was towards the bottom of the bottle, and it was like all the leftover fluid from the top. But I mean, I've always shooken up the bottles vigorously, like a pair of maracas almost, and it just kind of made a mess, and everything is shiny, and I've given him multiple dull coats, and it does not make a difference. It also seems he's wearing a vest, and I didn't realize that at first, but I'm looking at him now, and especially as there's like those patterns on the back, and I'm figuring, yeah, I kind of didn't do it right, but it is a cowboy sheriff smoking a cigar. And I can't help but think of the old Corman movie Star Crash with the robot that I swear sounded like a Texan sheriff. And we used to make fun of it incessantly and watch it just for that. I think that's the one with Carolyn Monroe, isn't it? Where she has like a new outfit every scene that she's in. I think that made almost as much of an impression on young me as the Cowbot, the sheriff robot. So yeah, not that he's painted anything like it, and it's just kind of fun to revisit some of these old Wild West Exodus models, because I feel like it's kind of just gone defunct again, which is a shame, because there were some really cool sculpts, especially the stuff in plastic. I feel like I'm doing an ASMR video here. My throat is killing me, and like I can barely speak up, so if I start hacking and coughing and wheezing like an old man, my apologies. Alright, another model that I just could not figure out what I actually am looking at. This is one of the bad guy models that, what is it, Capsule Chibi / Martin Atelier has done for their Magical Girl Assault game. This is like one of the baddies, and totally reminds me of something out of Arc Knights. He's got like this weird like butterfly, dragon, Xeon, Contra, eagle thing on his back, which I hadn't noticed until today. But if you just want some like evil looking tactical guys, despite again the shininess, same issue with the Cowbot. painted him, and put some wash on him, and the wash did not work the way it was supposed to, unfortunately. What else we got? A model that is long overdue, and a company that I don't think I've ever mentioned yet, which is really bizarre because I've got plenty of their junk piling up in my shelves and table, and that's Knucklebone Miniatures. Knucklebone makes some really, really gnarly stuff, especially if you like that kind of Mork Borg, just really gritty, grim, dark, bizarre, trashy, steam junk look, of which their models absolutely have in spades. I don't even remember what this guy's called, but I just liked him with the big conical hat, and I don't know. It's a fun model. Again, I don't know how many times I've sprayed them with this quote-unquote matte sealer, but you can see everything is nice and glossy. I'm disappointed I didn't get my money's worth in that regard. Another model that I have unfortunately fought with and not really done justice. This was a gun mage from the Dragon Trapper's Lodge from a long while back. I just thought this was a fun, interesting pose. And honestly, once I go back to the hobby shop, which unfortunately I haven't had time, I guess I could always order some matte sealer online, but I like picking that stuff up in person. It just didn't do it justice, I feel. And again, part of that may be that I just gunked it up with that crappy primer. There's just a lot of fun, interesting details. So he's got like a Snake Eyes type visor on under his magician's hat there. Not that you can see it. And there's like all kinds of wires and doohickeys attached to this rifle wand thing of his, which I thought was kind of a fun touch. And the other interesting thing is he actually attaches to the base. There's a keyed piece on the bottom of his cloak, which I thought was a cool little touch. And finally, at least for this week, not to say that there isn't a bunch of other stuff waiting to be unleashed upon this channel on some unsuspecting Monday, but I've been trying to get through my Greater Good Kill Team figures from Wargames exclusive, and the problem is they don't stop. They just keep making more and more and more and more, and it got to the point that I've got like this bin, and I'm like, I've got one here for as an example of just parts that like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get around to it, and these are all just Wargames Atlantic random chaos, not Wargames Atlantic, Wargames exclusive chaos bits. And I just haven't gotten to them. I don't remember which is which. I obviously need to sit down with either my phone or the computer and just start parsing through all these pieces and figure out what's what. But one of the cool things, especially about the Chaos guys, is that all of the pieces that they had made, especially for the original ones, I can't say that for all of them yet because I haven't printed every single thing yet, but they are totally modular in how they attach to the bodies. So you really can kind of go to town before you start, just scraping off the keyed bits and just, chopping up everything yourself. But like you can see, I've got a fair share of random bits, and I've got a couple boxes, and I guess they're not handy, of the Greater Good figures as well. So most of them are single piece, obviously with totally modular heads. I want to say for the most part, though, that the arms have always been keyed for that specific body, unlike the Chaos dudes. But just a random, bizarre paint job. I wanted to try to paint her up like a lot of the drone mechs I've got from Piper Makes, as they're obviously, for a long time, supposed to have been Tau proxies. And so I kind of went with that, but then she's got like this tattered dress on and it didn't really match up with anything. And actually, technically, she's not supposed to be wearing any kind of skin tight suit underneath that. It's all supposed to be bare skin, but I didn't feel it was the most, tactical usage of battlefield dress. And obviously, if you want more pinup even this, and you want scantily clad, barely clad, or not clad at all, Greater Good models, they got you covered in that aspect as well. And yet another one, this lady being a little bit more heavily armored, except for the thong that she's supposed to be wearing that I painted a little bit thicker, but it absolutely is not supposed to be. So yeah. What's cool is they actually just put out a bunch of human greater good support models and did an entire kill team, and they've done a bunch of their cruel quote unquote lizard people kill team type models with a whole ton of specialists as well. And like I'm saying, I'm not even joking, I kid you not, I'm not exaggerating, but on a almost weekly basis, you can count that Wargames exclusive is going to bring you even more crazy kill team greater good type models, except we have not seen any of the battle suits yet. I have not seen a printable battle suit. We've seen a ton of females, few males at that, and I've printed quite a few as well, but we have not seen any of the battle suits. And I'll admit, I did a video a long time back, a couple years now, in fact, when Wargames Exclusive put out their resin battle suits, and it was neat, but something about the proportions were a little bit off, and I didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I would. So I'm hopeful that someday we'll see some new stuff come out in terms of battle suits, especially online, because really, when it comes to character models, they've been knocking it out of the park. I mean, they've got like months upon months at this point, so if you haven't had a chance, do take a look, and if you need a link, well, guess what? They're always at the bottom of these videos where you can find them. So for me, not an overall bad little haul of stuff, all things considered. Like I said, I've been sick, and unfortunately, when that's the case, painting does take a back seat to just getting better. And it doesn't help when there's a million things going on and, you know, got to keep the kids doing all their usual business. So I'm pleased with myself, and hopefully we should have some stuff back up next week. Honestly, I think I finished these two back here last week, and I just didn't get around to filming it because, like I said, I just been blah. So fingers crossed that my voice is back to normal next week, and we have some other upcoming videos, because otherwise I'm dipping into my old video reserve, and you might see some glaring changes, but maybe not so much, because I do try to keep it pretty much on the same level of very home style rather than any type of professional quality. So yeah. Anyways, with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.